my friends, and welcome back. Cumberland Outdoorsman out here walking my property. Just doing a little bit of late season hiking through the woods. It's turned off rather cool in the last day or so. Just yesterday morning it was like 60 degrees, and now it's down to 35, I think. So I'll be heading home here in just a little bit. But I thought I'd come down here and just see what I can find here in the woods. Now that most all the hunting seasons are over, squirrel season and rabbit season's still in, but I just thought I'd do a little hiking today. Check on my tree stands and make sure everything's still in order here. On my property anyway. Got some tracks down here. Looks like a raccoon's been through here. Maybe a fox or a coyote. I think that's probably a red fox. Got some red foxes in the area here. But you know, I've been out here walking around a little bit, kind of pondering over, just thought I heard a noise back there. I've been out here walking around just a little bit, trying to get some fresh air, and I've been pondering over what it means to be a landowner, you know. I know this video is normally about hunting and fishing and reviewing old guns, especially old 22s. I know everybody loves that, and I enjoy making those videos immensely. But, you know, part of being an outdoorsman for a lot of us is actually owning some land like this, you know, having the privilege of saying, well, that's a piece of ground that I can go hike or hunt or whatever anytime I want. But then again, there's another thought that comes to mind. Do you ever really truly own a piece of land in your lifetime? I know there'll come a day when we'll have to give it all up, folks, but you know, that's for everyone. And I believe that there's something more waiting for us whenever that time comes. And when that time gets here, we'll just have to leave it to the next generation. But getting back to whether or not you really truly own land or a residential property hinges on one thing that we all hate to talk about and hate to think about, and that's property taxes. Now that Mr. Trump is back in office, he's really shaking things up. And I know he can't really do anything about property taxes because that's more on a local government level. But he's got people thinking in the right direction, I believe, in regards to where is all this money going that we're spending, that we're paying in, you know? I mean, it's really got a lot of people thinking. And even folks that didn't like him or that don't like him, I think it's changed their minds somewhat in regards to their attitude towards the new president. There's a reason why so many Americans voted in favor of Mr. Trump. And that's because they were starting to listen to what he had to say in regards to politicians, the way the government's being run, and what's happening to our money. You know, just lately, within the last week or so, we're starting to see that the tax money that's coming out of our wallets is being misappropriated, being spent on some crazy stuff. I mean, just things that most people simply don't approve of. I mean, you have no choice. You have to pay taxes when you're working, or if you get money somehow, no matter how you earn money, you have to pay taxes. And you have no say-so on how those tax dollars are spent. You got these people that have these special interests that don't really fall in line with the average person. What the average American really wants to see their money being spent on. So, that begs the question too about property taxes. Just last week, I called my county tax assessor's office and I asked a question. I asked several questions, but one of the most important questions I asked was, how much money did they collect last year just in my county on residential property? And I thought, well, they'll probably tell me 40 million or maybe 50 million, something like that. I was astonished to hear that they collected $198 million plus some. And just this past year, property taxes everywhere went up. With that kind of money, all the roads should be perfect and all the kids in the schools ought to be getting free lunches. $198 million, almost $200 million. Give me a break. I mean, come on. Where is all that money going? I know there's things that have to be paid for. I'm not saying that we should do away totally with property taxes, but let's take a hard look at them and see if maybe some type of reform is not in order. I know that here in Tennessee, taxes on property are probably lower than in other parts of the country, but still, that's a lot of money, folks, in 1 year. I've owned my home and my land here for over a decade. Year after year after year, I'm paying property taxes on land that I already own and a house that I already own, that's been paid off over a decade ago. But yet, every year, when that time rolls around, you got to pay taxes for something that you already own. Now, I'll be realistic about it, I know that taxes have to be paid. I mean, it's not a thing that I think should totally be wiped out. But let's make it where there comes a time when enough is enough, okay? If you've got a house, say you're a couple and you've worked year after year to pay off that house and you've paid your property taxes, then I think that by the time you pay it off, I think you've paid enough in property taxes. I think the property ought to be yours, And I'm willing to compromise in saying that, there should be a percentage on property taxes. Say you buy a home with a few acres of land, or say you own a small property, or you want to own a small property, maybe 20, 30, 40 acres or whatever. It's a dream of yours, just like mine is here. Then, let's set a percentage on what those property taxes ought to be. Say it's 10% or 12% or 15%. Let's come up with a figure, and then you can either pay for the property taxes all up front when you acquire the land or when the deal is done, or you can pay it in an escrow account where they can actually draw some interest off of that. But then once that land is paid for and that percentage is met, then the land is yours. No more property taxes. Now, if you ever sell that house or that land, then the new owners will have to pay those taxes all over again. I mean, surely they can find enough revenue with a plan like that You know, with as many real estate transactions that take place all the time, surely they can come up with enough money to fund things that way. I mean, I would really like to know just exactly where $198 million went in my county alone. That's why I say government, both on a local and on a federal level, should be limited. And I think most of you would agree with me on that. You know, I'm not saying totally do away with it, because taxes need to be paid. There's things that need to be paid for. You know, we have fire departments, we have police departments, we have roads that need to be fixed, we have schools that need to be supported, you know, and then there's other projects around the county that benefit people that need to be funded. But there should be a limit to residential property tax. That's all I'm saying. You know, so I think that right now is a good time. I wasn't going to make this video. I wasn't going to post this because it doesn't really have much to do with what this channel's about. Although owning a piece of property like these woods that I've got here, you know, is a big part of making the video content that's on this channel. There's a rub on a beech tree coming back up this hill here. Oh, that's an old rub there. That's where a buck came through here and raked his antlers. Well, friends, I've hiked all through here now. Came all the way from the road back through this valley here and through the woods. Thought that maybe I would find a shed or two, but finding some deer sign where they've come through here lately, but nothing too fresh. Found a few deer droppings, and sheds are those things that you kind of happen upon. You know, you don't find them everywhere. You just be walking along one day and there's one laying there. And I found a few in here, but not today. So folks, on my way out here, I had the thought in my mind, you know, what should I talk about today? And the subject of property taxes kind of entered my mind, and I thought I would share my thoughts with you. And I know it doesn't really have much to do with outdoor activities, but you know, if you own a piece of land like this, you know, the thoughts are going to be on your mind about what it's going to take to be able to keep it. And my thoughts are that property taxes have pretty much gone the same way as, for example, federal income taxes. You know, they've pretty much lost control, in my mind. I mean, they're overcharging us, and the thing about property taxes, you just can't get away from it. You know, it's something, even after you own the house or a land, you know, it's something like you're a slave to your local government, because if you own a house or own a piece of property, piece of land, that even after you pay for it, you still owe them money. And with that much money that's coming into their budget every year, I can't help but think that a lot of the funds that they're getting are being misspent, misappropriated. That's why I'm saying that there should be a limit to government, both on a local and a federal level. You know, I'm just a small voice, but I'm thinking in terms of actually being able to own something and say it's yours. It's not something that you truly own if you have to pay someone to have it. You know, I mean, it's just, you're not a property owner, you know. You're a property renter is what you are. because you got to pay somebody just to stay there. So, you know, other thoughts come to my mind, like you've got a couple that's worked for a house, maybe a few acres of land, all their life, and they've worked diligently, made all their payments on time, paid their property taxes along the way, and then once they pay for that house, you know, for some reason or another, they can't pay for those property taxes. What do? They come and take it from them. That is wrong. You know, there's not anywhere that I know of in my heart that tells me that that's the right thing to do. That is extortion in its purest form. You know, so you're going to kick that old couple out into the street because they can't give you their money for living in their own house? Surely you can come up with enough money from somewhere else, you know, to give older folks, those that have retired or are approaching retirement, a break on their property taxes. You know, I'm talking about residential property taxes. I mean, it's just crazy if you think about it. You know, most people wouldn't agree with that. Anyone that's sane anyway. So, you know, there you have it. That's my thoughts on it. Do I think we need to pay taxes? Absolutely. Yes, we do. Yet at the same time, I think there should come a point where you've paid enough in taxes on a house or a piece of land or anything else where you can truly call it yours. You know, you've worked hard, you've made the payments on it, no one helped you with it, you've worked hard to pay for it, and you've paid your property taxes along the way. You know, there should come a time when it's yours. That's all I'm saying. So, if you want to pass that property down to a family member, then that should be theirs too, in my opinion. So guys, I don't want this to come off as a rant on my part. I'm just sharing my thoughts with you. You know, when you're out here walking around in the woods, your mind often wanders in all different directions. And the reason I thought about this is because here recently, ever since President Trump has come back into office, he's really been shaking things up. You know, I mean, you got to admit, he's really trying to make a difference and come up with solutions to make life better for Americans, you know, for the American people. And I believe in that. I'm sorry, but, you know, whether you like him or not, you know, you got to admit that I think he's really trying to look out for the country. I mean, why else would he be trying to eliminate a federal income tax? I mean, come on. What other president in history has ever done that? So I thought it would be appropriate at this time to bring this up, you know. Well, my friends, the rain has started back up. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. I've only got a short piece to get back up the hill here. And I just thought I'd bring this up and see those of you that are landowners like myself, or if you own a house or whatever, but if you're an outdoorsman and you have a piece of property like I've got here, you know, some woods to enjoy, what your thoughts are on property taxes. You know, if you have any thoughts on it, whether you agree with it or not, you know, share your thoughts below. Maybe together we can all come up with a better solution. I was just thinking about a solution, and that's why I brought up the subject matter that I mentioned in this video. So folks, if you like to get outdoors, you like to go hunting, fishing, camping, shooting, hiking, whatever your outdoor activity happens to be, I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. But also remember this, hit that like button, smash that bell icon, and subscribe. That way you'll know when more videos like this one will be coming your way. So until next time, y'all take good care of yourselves, stay safe, I'll be seeing you.